We are live. What is going on, everyone? Thank you all so very much for being here. Everyone that's coming in at this time, we really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Anybody watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Again, greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. What's going on, Jake? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Very productive today. How are you?
Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Doing the daily grind as always. Trying to turn water into wine over here. And now we're here to talk some Lakers stuff. Real quick, let's say hello to everyone at the thing. What's up, Jerry? How are you? Appreciate you being here. Yes, let's go. Trade is coming next week. Bogdan might be on his way. Good Lord. I hope so. We're going to talk about the AD news. AD might be able to join us as well. Fingers crossed. I hope he can join us for one home game before the road trip. Yeah. So first off, thank you all so much for being here, and everyone else that's here at this time. So diving right into it, we got good Laker news today. Anthony Davis is roughly about a week away, give or take. So we got a report today that Anthony Davis is feeling good, no pain, no nothing, and that he should be good to go in about a week. So if that's the case, that is beautiful, right? Because we could really use Anthony Davis rather badly. So hopefully we could get AD back. Now, obviously the plan is to work him out. He's going to have some of he's going to run some sets, trial and error, all that stuff, see how the pain is once he does all that stuff. And if there's no pain the next day, then they can start working him in to playing the game of basketball on the full court. Now, the reports are that he'll be back before the road trip on the 28th is when we go start a road trip against Boston. But I'm hoping that Anthony Davis is back before that, because you want to give him a couple games to get his feet wet, to get his NBA legs under him. And if he can do that, then you're in a really good position. Rather than him coming back and immediately you got to play Boston, and it's like he hasn't played basketball in a month.
I know that would suck. Yeah, going up against Boston.
Yeah, so that makes things tough. But real quick, and then of course I want to hear your opinion. But we play the Grizzlies tonight. Okay, it's going to be tough. They're on an 11-game win streak, but these are those kind of trap games. Where a team, they're super hot, they can't lose. They're playing a team at home that just has been a disaster, has been a mess. I'm not saying that they win. I'm just saying that it's one of those games that feels like, oh, okay, like you could see, like everyone, the Lakers get hot. It's they got this game before they got to go to Portland. Let's try to win this last home stance. Like you could see it happening. You could see it coming out. But they play the Grizzlies. Then we got the Trailblazers, which I think is a winnable game without AD. Clippers have really been struggling. That might be a winnable game without AD. Spurs, that might be another winnable game without AD. Then we got the Celtics road trip. Ideally, if he could come back against the Clippers or the Spurs, that would be amazing. Because then that would give him a game or two before we got to go to the Celtics and play against the Celtics. And that would be rough to have him. That's his first game back. And now you got to play against arguably the best team in the league. Right. Yeah. So it would be nice if he could, especially against like the Spurs. Right. And especially because the Clippers and the Spurs are back to back. Yeah. So you'd imagine that LeBron might end up sitting one of those games. So but even if he doesn't, I think if he could come back and you see him play against like the Clippers or the Spurs, then I think that's a game we win. He gets his feet wet, and now we got Celtics, Nets, Knicks, Pacers, and Pelicans. 5 games on the road, which Celtics are going to be tough with or without Anthony Davis. Nets, I think we can beat without Kevin Durant. Knicks, I think we can beat. Pacers, I think we could beat. Pelicans, I think we could beat. And then the Thunder are going to be tough, but I do think we could beat the Thunder too. So if Anthony Davis comes back, so even let's say we lose tonight, we lose against the Grizzlies tonight.
Yeah.
We got the Blazers, the Clippers, and the Spurs. 3 games that I think are realistically winnable, right? And then let's say we drop the Celtics. The Nets, the Knicks, the Pacers, and the Pelicans and the Thunder, I think we could all beat. The Lakers could win 9 out of their next 10 games, realistically. Like, realistically, the Lakers could win 9 out of their next 10 games, especially if AD comes back. Like, so if the Lakers win 9 out of their next 10 games, then they're over 500 and they're in a playoff spot. Like, not a play-in spot, a playoff spot. So I like this was good news. This is good optimism. But again, what are your thoughts? As always, I want to hear yours. What are your opinion? What's your opinion on that?
No. I'll tell you what. I think both of those games that he could potentially come back, the Clippers and the Celtics, both are a little challenging. It's not like the Clippers are unbeatable. The Celtics are not unbeatable either, but it's a tough game to come back on.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I think what happens, and I'm almost positive what I feel like they did, even though the way our season's going, like we're so like, hey, like this is like crunch time. Like one decision can make or break like the rest of our season. So what I think that they did, and I'm almost positive, most of the time they do, but they sometimes play it a little close. They over rested AD to make sure that he was ready to come back. Like over rested him. It wasn't like, okay, like he's ready to come back, like he'll just be ready to come back when he's getting back. No, like I believe he's probably already like close to ready, if not ready right now, but they over rested just to make sure. And I'm sure that they're running like, scrimmages or whatever. So I think that it's not going to be as much of a lag time as we would think, you know what I mean? And I get it. Scrimmages are much different from like playing like, highly competitive basketball. But I think if he comes back against the Celtics, I think we can really win that game. I think he drop 30. drop 30. Matter of fact, I'm calling it. I'm just gonna throw something out there. He'll drop 30 his first night back. I don't know who he's playing. I don't know who he's playing the first night, but I think he'll drop 30. But looking at the schedule, it's an interesting schedule. That Portland game. How do you feel about the Portland game?
I really think we could beat Portland. We should have beaten Portland.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. We should have beat them. Then we got the Nets, and you said no KD, right? KD's out.
Yeah, KD should still be out during that time. All of those.
We could definitely beat the Nets without KD. If we could contain Kyrie, and kind of shut down the playmaking and the rebounding from Ben Simmons and stuff like that, I think we should be okay. Like,
well, here's something else, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games, right? The 11th game is the Milwaukee Bucks, which is February 9th, right?
Yeah, on the 9th, yeah. Then we got the Warriors right after that, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the Bucks game, the reason that's important, that's the trade deadline. So
yes, it is, yeah.
So out of those 11 games, the only games that I think you can make an argument the Lakers should lose. I'm not saying that they'll win all of the others. I'm just saying that like the only teams that I look at and go, okay, the Lakers should lose against them right now without AD, Grizzlies, Celtics, and then that Bucks game.
Grizzlies, right? Celtics, and that Bucks game. Okay.
Yeah, because Portland could Portland beat the Lakers? Of course. But the Lakers shouldn't. Like, that's not a game that you look at and go, oh, they should lose that game. Right? Like
the Pelicans? Oh, you don't No.
They might not have Zion for 1 and 2. Like, I think we beat the Pelicans when we were terrible. Like, everyone's kind of came around now. Pelicans, I'm not as high on. I think we can beat the Pelicans. Like, okay. I'm talking about just the games that you look at and go, the Lakers should probably lose to those teams.
Yeah.
Right. So again, out of these next 11 games, there's only 3 teams that I look at and go, the Lakers should lose to those teams. And that again is the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Grizzlies. Pelicans, I really believe the Pelicans can beat them, especially without Zion, which very likely is going to be the case. So, again, like Portland is a game that the Lakers can win. Clippers is a game the Lakers can win. Spurs is a game the Lakers should win. Nets is a game the Lakers can win. Knicks is a game that the Lakers can win. Pacers is a game that the Lakers should win without Halliburton because they're terrible without him. Pelicans is a game that they can win. Thunder is a game that they can win. And then the Bucks is the game that they could lose. But that would be the trade deadline. So the Lakers could realistically win 8 out of their next 11 games, end up getting AD back, and hopefully pull off a trade and be over 500 all in the next 2 weeks.
That's a very interesting scenario. Yeah, that's amazing.
That would be, and I mean, that's a gift from, whatever you believe in. Okay, that's what that is. That's a gift from the basketball gods, right? That is absolutely, because I mean, seriously, you win 8 out of your next 10, you're at 500, or 8 out of your next 11. I'm sorry, you're at 500. You'd have Anthony Davis back, and hopefully you have a trade for whatever, Boyan and Alec Burke, or Boyan and whatever, Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, whatever that trade is. So going into that Bucks game, we could be over 500, and not only over 500, but have LeBron or have Anthony Davis back, and maybe a new trade. That, my friends, is called "we in this." Okay, that would be absolutely incredible. I'm not saying that that'll happen.
Yeah.
Of course, again, the Lakers could lose to. There's teams that the Lakers could lose. The Pelicans, they could lose to. Knicks, if they show up against them. Clippers, we haven't beaten the Clippers in 4 years. So it's there are teams that we could lose to, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that could be something that actually happens.
And interesting too, because just in time, so after February 9th, right after that, we have the Warriors on the 11th, and we have the Warriors again on the 23rd, which I'm very interested in the Warriors games. A couple of the games that you stand out for me, even you said, some of the games that we should win. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but the ones I really, really have marked on my calendar that I feel like are going to be super, super interesting. The Clippers will be an interesting game to watch. The Spurs is always an interesting match, but the Knicks, that match, I really, really want to see that matchup. Not because the Knicks are because they're really not that great this year, but I really want to see. I really want to see that. And that Mavs game on the 26th, but that's a little bit down the road. Those two games are going to be interesting for sure. Which one are you most excited about?
And in the next 11?
Yeah, in the next 11.
Probably. Well, if AD's back, if AD's back, that Celtics game.
The Boston, that's gonna be fun.
Because if AD's back, I think if AD's back, and that's why I really want him to get a game under his belt before that Celtics game. If AD's back, I realistically think we have a shot at beating the Celtics. And if we can beat the Celtics, then
that says a lot.
Realistically, if we beat the Celtics, we could win. That could be us going on 8-9 game win streak, literally. Because again, if we can beat the Blazers, beat the Clippers, beat the Spurs, the one hiccup you'd imagine is the Celtics. But if we win 3 straight, we beat the Celtics. There's 4, the Nets 5, Knicks 6, Pacers 7, Pelicans. If you can beat that, there's 8, Thunder 9.
Yeah,
you could win 9 straight games going into that Bucks game, and you're now 2 or 3 games over 500. So even if you do lose to the Bucks, you still would be over 500. But then you play the Warriors twice after that Bucks game, one in Golden State and one at LA. I think the Lakers win at least one of those. You play another game in Portland. I think the Lakers can win that. You play another game at home against the Pelicans. I think the Lakers can win that. At Dallas, I actually think the Lakers smack Dallas that game if AD's back. I really do. I think on the 26th, I think they smack Dallas. Grizzlies is going to be tough again. Thunder, I think we could beat. Minnesota, I think we could beat if everyone's healthy. Got the Warriors again at home. Grizzlies at home. Raptors at home. I think we could beat. Knicks are at home. That March stretch, March 1st through, honestly, that entire month of March might be where we actually pull ahead. Because March, we play the Thunder on the road, and then we play the Timberwolves, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, the Raptors, and the Knicks. and the Knicks 5 straight home games, all against teams that we can win and we can beat.
I'll tell you what, though, those Raptors are the only teams to beat the Celtics twice this year.
The Raptors are terrible.
No, they are, but I'm saying,
and they might blow the whole thing up. So you might not even have to worry about them by this point. So that's 6 straight games there that you could win. And then after that home stance, you play in New Orleans, which is tough. But then you play the Rockets, the Mavericks, the Magic, the Suns, who we'll see what happens to them, the Thunder, the Bulls twice in a 3-day span, and then the Timberwolves again. March.
Yeah, that's an easy stretch. Yeah.
In March, we might win, like, how many games is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh man, I just messed that up. And I'm sorry. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. We could go like realistically in that stretch, we could go like 12-3 in that stretch.
I don't disagree. It's fairly I don't want to say easy, but it's fairly manageable until you get to April 4th with Utah. Like, Utah's a tough match, but I mean, the rest of the season, arguably, because we got to play Utah twice by at the end of the season. But the rest of the games are, I think they're manageable.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're really, like, we could realistically get into like the 4th or 5th seed.
Hey, you're saying with a trade though, right? Like, if we make a
I'm saying, like, even if just AD comes back and is healthy, those are all winnable games. If we get a trade, that's great. Then yeah, we probably do win those games. But even if we don't do anything, let's say we don't do a single thing, and AD comes back, and if he can stay healthy, if AD gets hurt again, then all of this is for nothing, right? But if AD is healthy and he can come back, we could be, by the time the season's over, we could end up being the 3 or 4 seed, maybe not the 3 seed, but we could be like the 4 to 5 seed, because we're only like I said, I mean, the entire month of March is where we could probably pick up the most ground. So you're talking, like, if we go like 12-3 during that month, then it's not out of the realm of possibility to think we're in like the 4th or 5th seed, right? I mean, we're only 3 games. We're only like 3 games out of the 6th seed. So we win 20 of our next 30 games or whatever. Like, we're probably one of the best teams as far as like standings during that time. So I mean, granted, that's asking a lot. You got, again, LeBron has to be healthy, AD's got to be good, everything like that. But it's not impossible. It's not something that sounds like, oh man, that sounds like a pipe dream. Like, it doesn't. I mean, we've been in our last 10 games, we're 6-4 in our last 10 games. That's without Anthony Davis and Lonnie Walker and Austin Reeves, and some of those games didn't even have LeBron James. So I
know, right? Yeah.
So we went 6. So we've gone 6 of 10 basically in this stretch without like 3 of our 5 best guys. All of them are going to come back. Is it really that far-fetched to think that we could go 20-10 over? Because I look at it like this. So if you doubled that would be what? That'd be 12-8.
12-8. Yeah.
Yeah. So double that, that'd be 24-16. Like, that's without our 3 best players. So you're telling me that our other 3 best players aren't worth 6 games? Of course they are. So, like, there you go. That's my point.
I mean, depends on the matchup, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Without the extreme, like Boston or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're right there. I mean, you're gonna lose some games. You're gonna, you might win the Celtics game, but lose to like the Thunder, and it's like, oh man, like we should have, like, it happens, right? Especially in an 82-game season. There's games that you should win that you lose, and there's games that you probably shouldn't win that you win. But if it over that period, if you can go and win X amount of games, like, I think the Lakers are going to be really good. I really do. I like where the Lakers are as far as everything goes. Now that we got that news with AD, I really do.
Yeah.
But real quick, let's dive into the chat real quick. Say hi to everyone. Lakers winning. I think so. I think they have a shot. I really do. Sham said AD will be back as early as Flipper game and as late as the Boss game. But yeah, I hope it's as early as the Flipper game. Let's go. Good news regarding AD facts. What's going on, SM? Appreciate you. Salute. How are you? The best time to play a great team in around the 10 to 14 game win streak. They're going to lay an egg sooner rather than later. Exactly. That's why I think that it's possible. Grizzlies got the deepest team in the league. They might. They're definitely one of them. Knicks have fallen off hard.
Utah.
I think so too. Hawks received Patrick Beverly, Kendrick Nunn, Troy Brown, 2020 first round pick, John Collins. I wouldn't mind us getting John Collins. I don't know what they'll trade John Collins to us for, essentially, because they're not going to want Patrick Beverly, Kendrick Nunn, or Troy Brown. So basically, they'd be trading John Collins for a first round pick. I don't think that would happen, if I'm being honest. But
the Hawks need to do something though. Whether they don't do that, like a trade so similar to that, they got to do something.
I think the trade that makes the most sense for them is the Utah trade that came up, which is Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley for John Collins. If I was Atlanta, I'd jump on that. I would jump on that immediately.
I think you got to switch it up. Yeah,
I think that's a win-win for both teams. Collins has been on the trade block since he joined it. That's facts. Collins is not the best fit, but I think playing with LeBron and AD would bring out the best to him. I think John Collins' issue is fit without a doubt. 0 points in the first 2 minutes for the Lakers game and Grizzlies. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't have the game on. I didn't want to get distracted while we talked. After this live stream, I'll definitely be watching that, and then we'll do the post-game stream as always. As it stands, who do you think won the Valanciunas-Steven Adams trade? I actually think that was very fair for both teams because I think both teams really needed that skill set. So I think that swap actually was really beneficial. I actually think they both I think that was about as fair of a deal as it got. And that's with us choking 4 games and rest screwing us out of another 4. That's very true. Very true. So, what's up, guys? Walker Bev, 27 unprotected first for Boyan. Rodney McGruber, would you pull the trigger on that? Yeah, I mean, if we get something else other than just Boyan, yes. Anything to kind of justify it. I still want Alec Burke. Figure it out. If you have to give up a second round, give up a second round too. But give up the unprotected first. Give up, a second round pick. Give them Walker, Bev, and Kendrick Nunn, and go get those 2 guys. Schroeder, Reeves, Boyan, Braun, 80 bench, Russ, TBJ, elite am on rotation, and I would absolutely love that. I'm with you, Ryan.
That would be smooth. I would love to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. But
wait, where's Oh, no Walker. Oh.
He's saying you trade Walker in the Boyan trade.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay,
yeah. Got it. Yeah. So, but speaking into the trade market, so got reports. Lakers are pushing. Pushing heavily for the Cam Reddish trade. So, basically, what they're trying to do is Kendrick Nunn and likely 2 second-round picks for Cam Reddish. But the report said that the Knicks want a third team, or both sides are looking for a third team. My guess is the third team is to take on Kendrick Nunn because the Knicks might not want, and they definitely don't need Kendrick Nunn, right? They have plenty of guards. They don't need Kendrick Nunn. So for them, it makes sense. You basically work out a 3-team deal. You send Cam Reddish to the Lakers, and then you send Kendrick Nunn to another team. And maybe if you're the Knicks, you could get another second, right? So, whatever, right? So say some team is willing to looks at Kendrick Nunn and goes, oh, he'd be nice for the bench, right? Well, you can go do that. Or another deal, which we'll talk about in a minute, is the Sixers. Sixers want to unload some guys. Maybe you could send Kendrick Nunn to the Sixers. Sixers give up a second. So if you're the Knicks, you basically get 3 second-round picks for Cam Reddish, essentially.
2 from the Lakers.
2 from the Lakers, and then 1 from the Sixers.
Right? Okay.
I think that makes sense. I am all for getting Cam Reddish. it isn't a move, in my opinion, that helps us right now. I think it can. I
Yeah.
absolutely think it can. I see a lot of people that'll be like, "Oh, you get Cam Reddish, that could be the missing piece we need," and I don't think that. Like Cam Reddish is nice. Look,
Yeah.
23 years old, 6'8", play both forward spots, 3 and D, very young. He's a piece for the future. Could he help now? Absolutely. I do think he can help. I just don't think he's going to move the needle as much as people think. He's a 30% three-point shooter. He's shooting under 40% from the field this season. Granted, a lot of that is probably the Knicks don't really want him. He doesn't want to be with the Knicks. He doesn't have a role. He hasn't played since December 3rd, right? Like there's a lot that go into that. So it's one of those things where I think fresh, new place, change of scenery could really be beneficial for him. Is he going to come to the Lakers and all of a sudden be a 40% three-point shooter? No, probably not, most likely. But I do think he's a guy that could come in, be a defensive anchor, ideally, a guy that can come in, just guard Paul George's, Kawhi Leonard's, guys like the big wings that we have to play against. Be a guy that could do that, hang your hat on the defensive end. Whatever offense you provide is offense you provide. Basically what we got from Stanley Johnson last year, right? Like that was that's why, and people love Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson didn't shoot the three ball very well, but whatever scoring he gave us was just an added bonus, right? What it was defensively, he was, locking up other guys. If Cam Reddish can come to the Lakers in a trade and just be a defensive specialist, essentially, then I think he could have a real impact. Then whatever offense he gives you is offense he gives you. If he can give you 10 a night, he gives you 10 a night. If he gives you 15 a night, 15 a night, whatever. But you get him just for the size and just because we really need the size.
Okay.
But again, it's also a move for the next several seasons. Now that could be your small forward. He's 23 years old. He's as young as half the guys that were drafted, right? Like people want Kyle Kuzma. You might have Kyle Kuzma 2.0 and Cam Reddish, right? Like, and he's going to be a lot cheaper.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
You're going to have him a lot longer. I mean, they're the same height, same size, same length, same everything.
Yeah, and
they shot the exact same percentage.
Super amazing.
It took Kuzma a couple years for him to become the Kuzma we know now. He wasn't able to do that right away. So Cam Reddish might be able to come in and in a year or two be what we wanted from Kyle Kuzma. So that I think is something that could actually happen. But what are your thoughts on Cam Reddish? Do you think they should do the deal? Do you think that no, find something else? Like, what are your thoughts on Cam Reddish?
Well, absolutely. Like, let's do the deal. It just makes sense. Like, we're only giving up none in 2 seconds. Like, what are we really losing? You know what I mean? Like, we're not really losing much in none. His production has started to, kick up slightly. But so what I'm hearing is we get a guard that has like defensive skill set, such like a Christie, kind of like a nice addition to Christie, maybe depending on where Christie is in the rotation. Maybe you could play them both. Then maybe 10, 15 points per game, maybe if that, So right now it just doesn't really do anything bad for the team. It doesn't derail our chances of getting to the playoffs this year. And I do agree it's a long-term play. Like it's not something that's going to like change our season like this season, but it's a nice piece, I think. It's just a nice developing piece. Because you look at some of the guys who played this year, like, and Reeves is a good example. Like where Reeves started from or where he was last season is like a completely different Reeves than we're seeing now. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of these guys develop even in this season. So who knows? He might it's already a half season, so he might come in and just might be able to explode. You just never know. It's just I don't know. It's just a different environment. Grass greener on the other side type thing. It's like hey, you put on a fresh uniform. You're in LA. You're in a new place. You go from New York to California, so it's it's just who knows? All that might play a factor, and he might just explode and just like really, really deserve some like play time. And he could be like super crucial for us down the playoff stretch if we make it that far. I mean, it's happened to teams before where they make this trade like mid-season, and that piece right there was a piece that actually ended up, nobody thought like would really like make a difference, but that kind of ended up being like the crucial piece. So who knows? But we should do the deal. It just doesn't make any sense not to do the deal. We just need that third team to come in. Now, who that third team is going to be and what could we get from them? I guess we're really not getting anything from them. It's just really like you said. It's more likely
It'd
just
be
to
for New York.
offload
Yeah, it'd be for New
um
York.
for none, because if New York doesn't want none, then somebody else. And then, see, that's another thing too. Like, I'm thinking in my mind when you said that, I'm kind of wondering, well, like, who's going to take none? And they're definitely not going to start him. So who's going to add none to their bench? I guess he would be an okay addition to, you know, some teams, but I looking at what he's done this year, I don't
I mean,
really
he could go
think
back to like Miami. Like
a
Miami could.
lot of teams are really gunning for him at this point. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I mean, he could make some noise, but realistically, I think most likely what'll happen at the end of the day is it'll just be a Laker Nick deal. It'll just be a swap, Lakers Knicks. Maybe instead of Kendrick Nunn, maybe the Knicks say, hey, we want you to stack a couple guys. Like, we like JTA, as like just some wing depth. Give us JTA. We'll take Damian Jones and maybe Troy Brown. Right, like that could be something that they may want to do instead, and just the idea is Kendrick Nunn. We give Kendrick Nunn 2 seconds for that, but if they don't want Kendrick Nunn, and not saying that they don't, this is just I'm just going off of what the report said, which is that they're potentially looking for a third team. It might just end up being as simple as Kendrick Nunn and 2 seconds for Cam Reddish, and that's it. It's done. But if they're like, hey, we're fine in the point guard position with Rose and Quickly, and like we don't really need that. So tell you what, give us Troy Brown Jr., JTA, and Damian Jones or something, right? That gives us a backup big that's cheap, JTA and Troy Brown. If they're good for us, they're good for us. If not, then they're not. Who cares? It's not a big deal. We're not playing Reddish anyway. That way they get kind of two wing guys for Cam Reddish, and then they also get like a backup center. That could be something that they look at, right? Which that might actually be better for the Lakers if you could do that, because then you basically stack contracts. So then you still have Walker, Nunn, and Patrick Beverly for like a big deal to maybe go try to get like a Boyan and Alec Burke, something like that. Because that could get, between those three, that gets you almost like what 34 million or something like that in salary.
So do the Knicks not want to bargain with any of the more of their pieces? Because I'm like, well, why don't we just try to get more pieces from the Knicks? You know what I mean? Like,
because what else are they all their key guys are not going to want to trade. Like, we don't want nor need Evan Fournier. They're not going to trade like Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, there's talks that they're taking offers for him, but like they're going to want a first round pick for him. Like, there's nobody on the Knicks that we would want. And that
so Randall's out of the question, because they're not
going to trade Julius Randle, and Julius Randle might be the worst fit. He might be worse than Russ for the Lakers. Like,
really,
Julius Randle is very specific. Like Julius Randle's best because he's kind of like their point forward guy, where you have LeBron. And Julius Randle isn't going to go from starting and putting up 30 a night to like being a backup for LeBron James. Like that, I don't think the Knicks deal. So there isn't anybody on the Knicks that I could see. The Lakers there's players that the Lakers I'm sure would want, but like the Knicks aren't going to trade any of those guys. Like, they're not going to trade Grimes. They're not going to trade.
They're not going to trade RJ either. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not trading any of those guys.
Rose next to LeBron would be crazy. I don't care what anybody says. That would be crazy.
I mean, it didn't work last time when Rose played in Cleveland with him. It was terrible. But Rose is also more of a vet and stuff, so
yeah,
maybe it could work now. Problem is we don't really need any more cards, unless you unload a bunch. But moving on to like the next potential trade, Serge Ibaka. So Serge Ibaka hasn't played for the Milwaukee Bucks for a little while. I don't remember exactly how many games it's been off the top of my head, but he hasn't played. He's only played like 16 games for them in total. But the Serge Ibaka and the Milwaukee Bucks want to have basically came to a mutual agreement per Shams that they would find him a new home. Now, if they can't trade him, then they very likely just buy him out. And then he's a minimum contract, so it doesn't cost much. But if you're the Lakers, Do you just call them up and say, "Hey, we'll give you Damian Jones straight up for Serge Ibaka"? Like you're gonna buy out Serge Ibaka anyway. Like so, and you're not, and like who's gonna trade for him? Like you're not gonna get any picks or anything for him. So Damian Jones is a young center. He just hasn't worked for us. He was great in Sacramento last year. We'll just swap you Damian Jones for Serge Ibaka. The Lakers have been in the market for a big. Obviously, DeMarcus Cousins and Myers Leonard hasn't really worked out. Serge, you only need a big to come in and play 10 plus minutes a game. You don't need a big to play a bunch of minutes. So he could play center. He could play power forward. He could play next to AD. He could play next to Thomas Bryant. He could play next to Winning Gabriel. I think it's a win-win. And then for those that are like, well, why trade for him when you could go and just if he gets bought out, just sign him on the buyout? Because you can move off of Damian Jones's 2-year contract. That's why. And Milwaukee might actually do that because, again, Damian Jones is like 24 years old, 6'10", 6'11" center, and they wanted a backup center, right? So they might be able to get him to work, and he's on a minimum contract for the next 2 years, so it doesn't cost them anything, right? So if you're Milwaukee, like you bring him in, you hope that you can get him to work. If not, then you just buy him out next year anyway, and you just like you were going to do with Serge Ibaka. So it doesn't really change anything. So if you could basically unload Damian Jones's multi-year contract in order to get Serge Ibaka, I think you do that. Because also that's another $3 million, $2.5 million that you'd have in salary space next season, at worst case scenario. Or you could use Serge Ibaka and add him to another trade or something, or work out a trade later if you need to. It just gives you flexibility, which is why I would do the deal.
Because if you wait, because he's gonna be a free agent next year anyway. But like you said, it doesn't really, because you can't move on with Jones' contract. But my thing is, don't you give Jones just one more year though?
Damian Jones is on contract for 2 years. He has a player option next year, which means he's probably going to opt in. But if you're the Lakers, that's the last thing you want, because he's been unplayable for them. And
but that's what I'm saying. Like, do we give him another season to like develop, or at this point,
you move on and find somebody else, because that salary cap you'd clear might be able to get you a center you want. Right. And if you don't unload them now, then you're in trouble. So I think that would be a mutually beneficial thing. Like, hey, it's a simple swap. You get Damian Jones, we get Serge Ibaka. You get a young center that you may or may not be able to do anything with. If you can, you can.
More than likely not. He's just gonna ride the bench over there.
Maybe not.
He's gonna do the same thing that he was doing for us, unless they can take him and flip him and they have more players that he would be able to play with.
He was great for Sacramento. That's why it was such a big deal when the Lakers got him, because people thought he was going to get more money and they thought he was going to be like a really good piece, because he was really good for Sacramento, but he hasn't been able to translate that for the Lakers. Well, I don't know if it's just the system we're running. I don't know if it's just the team.
I think AD has a lot to do with it, because
he
didn't have to play in that sort of type system over there. Yeah. So we're like, here he has to I just think he had to change too much of his play style. But my thing is you go over there, I don't know. Hey, I'm all for the swap. Let's trade him. But
also just be
if you're Milwaukee, what are you gonna do with him? That's the only thing.
Yeah, it could also just be that certain players just you got the LA spotlight on you. We've seen a lot of players do that. You go to Milwaukee, it's a small market. Yeah, they have aspirations of winning a title, but the pressure isn't as high as it is in LA, right? So that's true. You might be able to So I just think that would be a real mutually.
It's not like a historical crazy franchise have won all these rings, and yeah.
I think it would just be a solid, just 1-for-1 swap. Everyone's happy. Lakers get a vet big man that can come in, play solid minutes for him here and there. He's a guy. He's not OKC Serge Ibaka. He's not Ibaka anymore. He's still.
I loved OKC Serge Ibaka though.
Yeah, that was a monster. Like I would love that, but he's still a savvy vet that can stretch the floor. Be a help defender. Has good size, has toughness. He's a tough guy. So I think you could use him. I think he's a guy that gives you some insurance. Like he could play next to AD, play next to Winian, play next to Thomas Bryant, all of those things, and
cookie cutter. Like cookie cutter, where we can just fit in that position.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fundamentals,
plug and play.
Nothing flashy.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about him doing anything goofy. Like, he's going to come in. He's won a championship. He's been to the finals several times. He's a guy that. What is it?
No, and he's going to rebound for us, which we need. Yeah. We like to add more rebounders to our team as much as we need anything else is crucial.
Yeah, it is. It's something that I think could be a nice solid round move for both parties. I think it's just like I said, even swap. Here you go. You get Ibaka. We'll take Damian Jones. Clean. But another little thing. Or here, let's get caught up with the comments, and then we'll move on to one of the last topics, and then we'll get on out of here. Let people enjoy the game, and then. So I think we're gonna get a surprise trade, something we ain't see coming. That's always a possibility. I've even said before that like I wouldn't be shocked if the trade is a trade that like we haven't even heard of yet. Like because we've heard kind of the same handful of teams, right? Like Pacers, Jazz, Charlotte. Like I wouldn't be shocked if like just randomly out of left field the Lakers pull off some like random trade with a random team and everyone's like what like that, like as long as it's a good package.
And I want to be like the Warriors or something like that.
Crazy. Like I hope it's not something like crazy, but like I could see like Dallas maybe just randomly comes out of like if they want to get rid of Christian Wood, like which they seem to do, and they need ball help, like maybe Dallas hits him up and goes, we want Russ to test him out this year, and then if we like him, we'll re-sign it. Like I'm not saying that they will, but like I could just see some random team that like everyone's like, whoa, didn't see that, like never saw that coming. I could see that being the case. Some of these like middle of the pack teams, right? Like like most of the conversations are with like the tanking teams, like the Spurs, the Pistons, the Hornets, stuff like that. But like what about like what if like Minnesota is like we'll give you D'Angelo Russell, like McDaniels, like a couple pieces. Like I think people would be like, what? Like where did that come from? Or maybe I don't know, maybe like I said, the Mavericks, maybe they work something out. I just my point is I could see some random team coming out of left field and just working out some type of trade to maybe do something. Maybe Atlanta. Atlanta's like, hey, we'll give you a couple pieces. We want to retool next season. This roster isn't working out. We'll give you a couple of our guys. Maybe you could do something like that. It's just a thought. But yes, we definitely need Cam Reddish's size. That's for sure. These refs getting, I might have nerves, no fouls calling for the Lakers. Dude smacked LeBron on the arm, then pushed him, no foul given. Dude, the refs have been just atrocious with the Lakers. I think bidding for Bojan will be high, but Pistons will move him at the deadline because they can get the best package. Now he is seamless fit next to LeBron and AD, opens up the floor for the big three. I would, if you can go get Bojan Bogdanovic, you do it. Like and eat it up. I understand the Lakers, and I don't blame them at all for it. They're trying to get another piece, whether it's Nerlens Noel or something like that. They don't want to give up an unprotected first straight up for Bojan by himself, which again, I completely get. I completely understand. But if push comes to shove, just give it up. Just make the move, make the trade. Bojan might be the best fit there is next to LeBron and AD. On top of that, you go and you get, you open the floor for Russ, LeBron, and AD. It's too perfect.
and they got to be careful too, because I mean, what are they, third in the East? They got to be careful because whatever move they make, they, like I said, they're sitting in good standings right now. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do. Because if they get Russ, they're not gonna keep Russ.
No, they just buy him out. Well, we wouldn't trade Russ for Boyan anyway, unless we do Alec Burke, Boyan, and that. But I mean, you don't need Nerlens Noel. You could just get Burke and keep Russ. Reddish to Lakers, none to Miami, Dedmon to New York. I mean, I could see something like that. Yeah, I could absolutely see something like that. Jones sucks. Yeah, Damian Jones for for Bo Cruz. But sort of the last sort of thing that I wanted to talk about, and then we can get on out of here, is the Philadelphia 76ers want to clear some cap space because they are over the tax, and they only need to clear like a couple million to get under the tax, which if they can do that multiple years, then they avoid repeater tax, which means they can kind of reset their team. They get all the benefits of the full mid-level, the full basically all the full exceptions and stuff. So that could be a huge move for the Sixers. So basically, essentially, they want to just unload guys. Basically, they just want to free and clear. Here you go. Take these guys. We're done. They take on a guy or two here and there, but basically, it's just basically to give guys. So. Now, the people that have been mentioned in a potential, basically Sixers rehaul, unload, are Thibault, which I would love. Matisse Thibault would be fantastic. Which I'll for those that don't know, I'll clue everybody in a second. But Thibault, Korsmaz, and their rookie, I believe, Sprainer. Sprainer,
Jaden Springer, yeah.
So yeah, those three guys are basically the guys that are most likely to be unloaded. Now, Sprainer doesn't make a lot of sense for the Lakers because he's basically a point guard. He's like a 6'4" point guard. And he's not going to get the development on a team like Philly like he would on another thing. So I could see a team maybe taking a flyer on him. Supposedly, the Sixers would also be willing to give up second-round picks in order to unload some of these guys if they could. Now, you said what?
No, I said interesting.
Yeah. Now, if I'm the Lakers, and again, Sprainer doesn't make any sense, Jaden Sprainer, but Korsmaz and Thibault make all the sense in the world. Now, Thibault is not a very good three-point shooter, but he might be one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. He is really good size, good strength, hustle. He's still very young. So he could just be like a defensive specialist for us. And if you could get Korsmaz, who a decent three-point shooter, he's very streaky, right? Like if he's hot, that guy can't miss. Like he's one of those guys that's either like 8 for 9 from three, or he's like 2 of 9 from three. Like
he's 32%, I think.
Korsmaz, I think Korsmaz is like 35%. Matisse Thibault is like 32% from three. But Korsmaz, I think, is like 35, 34%, something like that, somewhere around there. If I'm not mistaken. But point is that you get a guy that could shoot, although he's a streaky shooter, he could still shoot. Thibault, again, not a great shooter, but he can provide solid just defense, like lockdown defense. He could guard some of the guards that we need him to guard. Like Devin Booker's, Ja Morant's, like those kind of guys. He would be nice with. Sorry, I'm just trying to look up. Yeah, so he's shooting 30 this season. Korsmaz is shooting 34.3%.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but he's a career 35% 3-point shooter. So yeah, I was pretty close. But anyway, Korsmaz, you get a 3-point shooter. Thibault, you get a defender. So you basically get 3 Andy just in 2 separate players, but they'd be free. They'd be free players. You wouldn't have to you could give up Damian Jones and like JTA or something like that. Boom, there you go. Right? Like clean, even swap, 2 for 2, and everyone's happy. It's a win-win. They get to just buy out JTA. They could keep Damian Jones if they want, or they could buy him out. And again, it would be just a win-win. They could declare the salary that they want to clear, and everyone's happy. Lakers get 2 pieces. If they don't turn out to be anything, they don't turn out to be anything. If they turn out to be something, they turn out to be something. It doesn't hurt you in the slightest. They're both young. Like they're both like 24, 25. So it's not like they're both like 40. So it's I just think it would be a nice, solid all-around trade. You get a lockdown defender and Thibault, and you get a streaky 3-point shooter who, even at 34%, is better than almost everybody on.
I was about to say half the players on the roster, if not all the players on the roster. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So yeah. What do you
this would be like a long term.
No, not really. I mean, I think Korsmaz has like 1 more year after this year on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. I think if I'm not mistaken, he has like a year. Yeah, he has 1 more year. He's a restricted free agent 2024. So he has 1 more year after this year. He's making $5 million a year. So they basically have him $5 million, but he's a tradable salary. You could trade him and stack him next season if you wanted to. Yeah. This move doesn't affect any of your trades that you're trying to make right now. Yeah. And if anything, it just gives you more guys, more tradable pieces. So, I mean, you might even be able to work out a 3-team or something where maybe you could add those guys to a deal, right?
That's true.
To help you get better. Like that could always be a possibility. Again, I don't think it would be that big of an issue. And then I think Thibault has like 2 years on his deal after this one, something like that. Let me see his thing. There we go. He has when does it expire? So he'll be a restricted free agent next season. So you'd have control over him. So he has a rookie eligibility extension. So, again, it just you could sign him long term if you want. Doesn't hurt, and again, they're free pieces. It literally costs you nothing.
And the height too. Like I like it because like Korsmaz is 6'7", so it adds some height to the team.
Give you a sizable wing.
Yeah. So no, and I'm joking, but Andy's from Turkey, so it's like all Turkish players play good.
Korsmaz is actually an above-average defender. Yeah. So like he is a 3-and-D guy. I mean, he's not like an elite 3-and-D guy, but he's, like I said, he's above average. So you get an above-average defender, and you get and he shoots the 3 ball, so you get a 3-and-D guy, and then you get a really good above average defender that if he gives you a bucket here and there, he gives you a bucket here and there, but it'd be more just for defense. He basically gives you like what Pat Bev is giving you now. He's only bigger than Pat Bev though. He's like 6'5". So I think you do the deal. I think if you can,
I think so.
If the Sixers just want to give these guys away. Now, if it costs you even a second, then no, keep it, hard pass. But like if it's just a straight up swap, like, hey, you have these guys for the long haul. We have guys that expire. We'll trade you those guys for these guys. Then I think you do it.
And not to mention we're trading scrub. Well, we're trading scrubs for potential talent. You know what I mean?
Like, you're trading guys. You're trading guys that aren't helping you at all for 2 guys that may help you, right? Yeah. I mean that are basically in, not heavily, but they're still in the Sixers rotation, and the Sixers are a good team. So you're getting guys that and I mean the idea is to still do a deal, like you still make another trade. So it doesn't affect any of your trades. It doesn't affect any of your moves. So why not? Right? Go take those. Just take Damian Jones or whatever. Go get those two guys. You bring them in. If you can go do another deal for like again a Boyan and Alec Burke, right? Well now Thibault and Korsmaz are your eighth and ninth guys, right?
Yeah.
So then who cares if they provide something? They provide something. They don't. They don't. But if they're better than the guys you're giving up. So.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Absolutely, anything
Yeah.
for like so it's kind of like the Cam Reddish trade, where it's like he could turn into something. You never know. You know what I mean? But it doesn't really affect you either way. So it's like any trades that are like that, like why not? Like we need to make happen. You know what I mean?
And they're young pieces that can develop and grow for the future. Like
and
so they're
young without injury issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't have injury issues, and they're only going to get better because they're young.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in theory, they should only get
Well,
better.
yeah, they're just coming into the league first. Beginning of their NBA career.
So I do. I think it'd be a win-win. But Adam, real quick, said I want to see Thomas Bryant and Winning Gabriel on the court together. I'm with you. You say what big man coming? Me's off the bench. Sign Cousins. I mean, hey, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind them signing Cousins. Trade Russ and both first. If only we could get Siakam.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, they could get more than that. They could get more than we could offer for Siakam, unfortunately. But anyway, any parting thoughts before we get on out of here?
I'm excited for the schedule, and it is so crucial. But I'm ready for it. I'm telling you, circle the Celtics and that Bucks game on the roster, because by then we know one thing is for sure, or we can almost say we'll have new pieces, and AD will be back, and those two factors are enough to beat the Celtics and the Bucks, the two best teams. So I'm excited.
Absolutely huge. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. But everybody, thank you so very much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. Anybody that's here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate you just taking a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on your way out. Also, don't miss the post-game live stream I do over on my channel, As It Stands Lakers. So after this game, I'll be over there and we'll be breaking down the game and having our usual discussions. Again, you guys